Marc was a very strange guy. I mean, he had all these qualities. He was instinctively brilliant. He was arrogant. He was narcissistic. He was self-centered. He was generous. He was kind-hearted.
I thought he was very interesting. I thought he was very charming. I thought he was different.
He was very outgoing. He had this kind of showbiz aura about him even before he was famous.
He was driven from his early age. He wanted to be a star. He wanted to be a rock and roll star. He knew he had talent.
He was extremely ambitious, and he was very sort of calculating. I think he had a very good instinct for the market.
I learned later that he was also prone to exaggeration, and just making up complete blatant lies to further his career.
There's Marc Bolan, the rock star, which is a facade. Then there was Marc Feld, who I actually got to know at one stage, who was quite insecure and introvert.
I met Marc in my office at Melody Maker in Fleet Street, and I remember seeing this guy wandering around the corridor with corkscrew hair, and at that point we went for a chat and a drink in our local pub, and he explained to me that he was forming a band, and I said, well, how many people in the band? 2. It was just going to be him and a guy called Steve Peregrine Took. And I said, well, have you got your equipment together? He said, oh yes, we bought it all at Woolworths.
I had a brief from my boss to find a band of my own to produce, and until that time I was my boss's assistant. My boss was Denny Cordell, famous record producer who produced Joe Cocker and The Move and people like that. So I opened up a copy of International Times, and I just looked to see who was playing that night, and there was this group called Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I remember seeing their name week after week. So it was my very first night of talent scouting, and I went to the pub and waited until 8 o'clock until the band was advertised to go on. And I walked down the stairs, and I could hear the music coming up through the stairwell, and I thought it was very unusual. It wasn't rock music, it was kind of folky, and Marc Bolan was playing with Steve Peregrine Took, sitting on the floor, sitting on a carpet, and I was mesmerized. And yes, I did speak to him that night, and I was deferred to him by Steve Peregrine Took because I wasn't even sure that Marc could speak English. I didn't even know he was singing in English.
Tyrannosaurus Rex, when they first came out, were